Welcome to 365 Christian Men, where every day we aim to inspire and encourage with real-life stories about men. September 27th, Prince Kaboo. In the jungles of Liberia, nearing the end of the 19th century, people were always preparing for tribal warfare, or they were recovering from tribal warfare, or they were in the middle of tribal warfare. It was a hard way to live. But 15-year-old Prince Kaboo, the son of a Kru tribal chieftain, bore more than his share of the tribal warfare pain. Already, he had been kidnapped and held for ransom. Twice.
Does life seem like it is over? There is still hope. The third time the Grabo tribe defeated the Kru and captured Prince Kaboo, they held him for ransom as usual. And, as usual, the prince survived at the mercy of the drunken Grabo chief. But this time, no matter how much rice, ivory, or other gifts Kaboo's father brought, the Grabo chief refused to free Kaboo. Now, after all this fighting, that crazed Grabo chief had plans. He told Kaboo the Grabo were going to tie Kaboo to a tree and beat him until he passed out. Then they were going to bury his body up to his neck and prop his mouth open with a stick. Next, they would smear honey all over the boy to attract flesh-eating driver ants. And when the ants had had their way, the Grabos would hang Kaboo's skeleton as a warning that ransom must be paid. The time came. Warriors bound Kaboo to the whipping post. With poisonous, thorny vines, his captors lashed him over and over and over. His body was shredded, and escape was impossible. Suddenly, a blinding light from above shone on Kaboo's mangled body. The Grabo chief screamed in terror. Everyone there heard a voice that seemed to come from above them. The voice said, "Get up, Kaboo, get up and run away." The vines that had held him to the tree fell off, and he burst free. He was bleeding a lot, but his body surged with a new energy. Miraculously strong, Kaboo ran. He saw a soft light ahead, and he followed it. That unexplainable light led him through the thick maze of murky jungle to a coffee plantation where he met missionary Anna Knowles. And he stayed, there where he was safe and he could heal. One day, during normal Bible study time, Anna told the story of the light that had blinded the Apostle Paul. "I have seen that light too," Kaboo yelled. "When they were whipping me and I was about to die, I heard that voice. Now I know who it was who saved my life. It was Jesus." Stunned, the missionary explained that Jesus died on a cross to pay the ransom for all people. Kaboo understood what it meant to be ransomed. One night, he was again surprised by a light. The room grew brighter and brighter until it was filled with glory. The burden of my heart suddenly disappeared. I shouted until everyone in the barracks was awakened. "Praise God! Praise God! I am his son, and he is my father." Romans 8:15 says, "For you have not received a spirit of slavery, leading to fear again, but you have received a spirit of adoption as sons, by which we cry out, 'Abba, Father.'" For the rest of his short life, Kaboo, who was later named Samuel Morris at his baptism, clung to the truth that he was a son of God who loved him. A missionary advised Kaboo to go to the United States for education, and that's what he did. Since he had no money, he started off to America on foot. For several nights, he slept on the beach until he could barter his passage for work. He was finally on his way, but the Kru beat him and gave him the dirtiest, most dangerous jobs. But because of standing firm in his faith, by the time they arrived in New York, the captain and most of the Kru had also become Christians. In the United States, Kaboo preached the gospel to anyone who would listen. Have you been through some battles? Is there a way to use that to speak into someone else's life? Does life seem like it is over? There is still hope.
Thank you for listening to today's story. Every day of the year, our hope is to inspire you with real-life stories of faithful men who have gone before us. Hebrews 12:1 says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin that so easily ensnares us. Let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith." Join us tomorrow for another story at 365christianmen.com.